how AI and digital innovation are revolutionizing the plastic economy. This session, under the theme of Smart Circularity, brings together a group of inspiring leaders and practitioners who will share their expertise and insights on how digital and artificial intelligence are reshaping the future of plastic circularity and sustainability. Allow me to introduce our distinguished panelists. First, Mrs. Prashani Ilangasekara. Mrs. Ilangasekara is the General Manager, Group ESG at Haley's PLC and is responsible for driving the group's ESG roadmap. She has extensive experience in implementing global reporting frameworks, including the Integrated Reporting Framework and GRI standards across multiple industries. Mrs. Ilangasekara holds a MSc in Finance from University of St. Andrews, MBA from the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Jayawardenepura, and Bachelor's in Management Studies from University of Nottingham. She is also an associated member of the Chartered Institute of Management, Accountants UK, and has served on the CIMA Sri Lanka Country Network panel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Prashani Ilangasekara on stage. Next, Engineer Heminda Jayavira. Engineer Heminda Jayavira is the Executive Director of TRACE, Technologically Reawakening Culture of Excellence Sri Lanka, an organization focused on powering Sri Lanka's innovation economy through targeted STEM-related initiatives and startup acceleration programs. He holds a BSc in Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering and MBA in Management of Technology from University of Moratuwa. Engineer Jayavira is recognized as a serial innovator, entrepreneur, and is an Eins Fellow, a prestigious fellowship awarded for his leadership skills and potential to create tangible impact in his country and region. He brings over a decade of experience from Dialogue Atexia Group specializing in new product and innovation management with international consulting experience across Malaysia, Bangladesh, and Cambodia. As Senior Fellow in Innovation and Entrepreneurship at University of Moratuwa, he founded Mora Ventures, the university's startup incubator. Engineer Jayavira is also the co-founder and director of multiple ventures, including 3H Innovations, Gendo Innovations, and Venture Frontier Lanka. At TRACE, he leads innovative initiatives, including the Startup Factory, an incubator model addressing the gap between global market requirements and Sri Lanka's educational output. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Engineer Heminda Jayavira on stage. Next, we have Engineer Pasan Senadira. Engineer Pasan Senadira is currently the Manager Operations at John Keells Holdings PLC, Sri Lanka's premier diversified conglomerate, where he has been contributing for nearly 4 years. His expertise spans in operations management, environmental sustainability, contract negotiation, strategic partnerships, and planning, budgeting, and forecasting. Engineer Pasan holds a BSc Engineering from University of Moratuwa, minor degrees in Entrepreneurship and Remote Sensing and GIS. He is currently pursuing a Master of Science in Sustainable Management from the University of Bedfordshire, demonstrating his commitment to sustainable business practices. His diverse professional background includes engineering roles across multiple sectors. He worked as a mining engineer at Access Engineering PLC, focusing on production planning, mine design, and project management. At prestigious Cinnamon Life Integrated Resort Project, an $850 million mixed development, he served as the project management engineer, coordinating QA and QC consultant teams and managing client relations with John Keells operations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Engineer Pasan Senadhir on stage. Next, we have Engineer Buddhika Bathigama. Engineer Buddhika Bathigama is the Business Development Manager at INSI EcoCycle Lanka, Sri Lanka's pioneer in sustainable waste management solutions, where he has contributing for nearly 6 years. Engineer Bathigama holds an engineering degree in chemical and processing engineering from University of Moratuwa and an MBA in supply chain management from the same university, demonstrating his commitment to combining technical expertise with business leadership. His career in the cement and waste management industry spans over a decade. Prior to joining INSI EcoCycle, he served as the logistics manager at Holcim Lanka Limited, where he gained valuable experience in industrial operations management. His journey in sustainable waste management began at GeoCycle, where he worked as a technical support engineer for over 4 years at their pre-processing facility in Katunayaka. His unique combination of chemical engineering background, supply chain management expertise, and extensive experience in cement and waste management industries positions him as a key figure in Sri Lanka's transition towards sustainable waste management practices and environmental stewardship. Please welcome Engineer Buddhika Bathigama on stage, please. And guiding today's discussion, we are honored to have as moderator Professor Mahesh Jayavira from University of Moratuwa. Professor Mahesh Jayavira is a highly accomplished environmental engineer and a researcher at the Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Moratuwa, Sri Lanka. With over 3 decades of academic excellence, he has established himself as a leading figure in environmental engineering, water and wastewater treatment, and emerging contaminants research. Professor Jayavira earned his PhD from Saitama University, Japan, and completed his bachelor's degree in civil engineering at University of Moratuwa. Professor Jayavira has received numerous prestigious awards, including multiple presidential awards for research, awards of excellence for outstanding research performance, and environmental achievement award. His extensive publication record demonstrates his commitment to addressing critical environmental issues both locally and globally. As a chartered engineer, an active member of professional organizations, including the Institution of Sri Lanka, Engineers Sri Lanka, and the Institute of Environmental Professionals Sri Lanka, Professor Jayavira continues to make significant contributions to environmental education and research while tackling some of the most pressing environmental challenges facing Sri Lanka and the region. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please join me in welcoming our moderator and esteemed panelists to begin the discussion.
Okay, good evening, good afternoon to all of you. After a heavy meal, I do believe that you will not sleep. And then if I find anybody sleeping, I will ask questions from you rather than asking panelists. So be aware of that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka today stands at the heart of the plastic crisis. Every year, we generate over 1.6 million tons of plastic waste, and nearly 69% of it goes unmanaged. So that means more than 1 million tons of plastic find their way into our rivers, coastlines, and our oceans, also together with the community annually. The consequences are severe. Polluted beaches that threaten tourism, clogged waterways that worsen flooding, and plastic entering our even food chain through fisheries and agriculture. Globally, only 9% of the plastics are recycled, When it comes to Sri Lanka does it barely 5% of our entire collection. While the rest is burned, dumped, or leak into the ocean. This is not just an environmental problem, it is both an economic and public health emergency. Plastic pollution costs Sri Lanka's tourism and fishery sectors millions of dollars every year, while microplastics in water and food pose silent but severe risks to human health. Yet, within this crisis lies an extraordinary opportunities to all of us. As Sri Lanka prepares for the extended producer responsibility (EPR) laws and continues to strengthen bans on single-use plastics, we have a chance to leapfrog. Around the world, artificial intelligence and digital innovations are revolutionizing the plastic economy. AI-driven robotics can sort waste with over 90% accuracy. So we have showcases as such. IoT smart bins and predictive analytics can reduce collection costs by nearly 20%. And blockchain tracking ensures that every piece of plastic is accounted for in recycling chains. Imagine what this could mean for Sri Lanka. A future where every bottle is traced, every piece of packaging has a second life, and unmanaged waste is reduced to near zero. By embracing these innovations, we can transform plastic pollution from a crippling burden into an engine for sustainable growth, digital transformation, and community empowerment. Our theme of panel discussion today, titled Smart Circularity, How AI and Digital Innovation Are Revolutionizing the Plastic Economy in Sri Lanka, is therefore worthy to be unfolded before you in a manner that it gives us hope in addressing above-mentioned alarming sentiments that I expressed earlier. We are not here to simply admire the problem. We are here to challenge ourselves, share bold ideas, and uncover practical solutions that can be implemented today but not tomorrow. Our panel brings together leaders from across the industry who are envisaged to be the tech giants, those who are already turning plastics into alternative fuels, corporates pioneering sustainable packaging, tech entrepreneurs building digital recycling solutions, and ESG experts driving systematic change. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to witness today the good stuff, the better innovations that has come out in Sri Lanka in a moment. Together, they represent the diverse voices that must come together if Sri Lanka is to build a circular, digital, intelligent plastic economy. So let us begin this dialogue with urgency, with innovation, and with a vision for Sri Lanka, where plastic pollution is not just reduced, but reinvented as an opportunity for smart, sustainable transformations. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to welcome all my four panelists. Engineer Buddhika, leading initiatives to use plastic waste as an alternative fuel raw material in cement manufacturing under INSEE EcoCycle. I welcome Pasan from John Kills, driving the plastic cycle social entrepreneurship project, and corporate sustainable packaging efforts. Engineer Heminder from Trace, champion for tech startups and sustainable innovation in waste management. And last but not least, Prashani from Haley's PLC, overseeing sustainability across a diverse conglomerate with initiatives in sustainable materials and waste reduction. Thank you very much for these experts being with us today. And I do believe that we can have a fruitful discussions, panel discussions, so that the audience will be very much knowledgeable. So what I'm going to do today is I'll ask questions, couple of questions from each first. That is the first round. And then let the audience ask you all questions, clarifications, and with that we can sum up and then finish. That's how this panel discussion goes. So I would like to start with Buddhiga. Okay, so the first question that I thought that I should ask would be, it seems that the NC Cement waste management arm called EcoCycle is known for co-processing plastic waste in cement kilns. How are you using AI or digital technology to enhance this process and ensure its efficient and safety?
Thank you, Professor. So it's a great privilege to be on this panel and convey our experience and what we do on behalf of the environment and our responsibilities as an organization. So let me begin with the kind of introduction about the co-processing and how we are working on these plastics. As a company, we are approaching this plastic waste in two channels. First, the recyclable portion as well as the non-recyclable portion. Since we are discussing about the co-processing of non-recyclable portion, we are handling over 1,500 metric tons of waste per month on cement kiln co-processing technology. So this is a kind of a highly energy and labor incentive organization. I mean, thermal and electrical energy, where we want to get the best or optimized operation in all our operations. So when it comes to digital technology or AI, let me say we are using the optimizers, where the fuel mix as well as the raw material optimizing done through the worksheets, AI tools, and digital dashboards. So all these operations, the monitoring equipments, the machines, as well as the instruments, all are connected through our central control room, and we are monitoring the operations. So the engineers are basically optimizing the fuel mix as well as the raw material mix based on the qualitative data as well as the cost economics data. The composition of the plastic waste highly heterogeneous. If we take like the post-consumer waste, it consists of almost everything. Not only the plastics, the polythene portion, the inert portions where we get a lot of non-co-processable material. So where we have to optimize the quality composition, the water content, that sort of qualitative data where we highly optimize through these technologies, the tools where we are currently using.
Thank you very much. Now you mentioned that you will be basically handling 1,000 metric tons a month of waste. When you handle this amount of waste, it seems that the co-processing turns non-recyclable plastics also into energy in your kiln. What impact has this had on emissions and waste reduction in Sri Lanka? And how do you measure these benefits?
Yes, Professor. Now, yeah, it's like 1,500 metric tons of plastics or the non-recyclable portion, apart from other waste streams we are handling. For example, like monthly we are handling 8,000 metric tons of waste. So if we come to the environmental impact, I would say these 1,500 metric tons were either landfilled or open burned in the I mean the local councils or the general public. That volume we are collecting from all over the country, like over 100 municipal councils throughout the country. We are collecting and dispose on a safe manner. So I would say, unless this was sustainably co-processed, it would have generated or created all the environmental issues where we are, all of us knows, the greenhouse and the water contamination, that sort of thing. So on the other hand, to operate this in a compliant manner, we are always monitoring the emissions as well as the predicting what could happen if waste is not properly disposed. So once we get a waste stream requirement, we conduct a comprehensive analysis, kind of a laboratory analysis, and predict what would be the impact on this thermal process. If we can handle this on a safe manner, we would accept. On the other hand, throughout the 24/7 operation, the emissions will be monitored. We are monitoring over 37 parameters like the chlorine, NOx, SOx, all those parameters we are 24/7 monitoring, and this is shared with all the regulatories on continuous basis, as well as we are conducting annual spot measurements to measure any other parameters. For example, toxic effluents like dioxins, furans, where we measure and record and produce to the regulatories where we are in compliance with the local requirement. So these are the controls we are making sure that the waste is handled in a sustainable and a regulator framed manner.
Thank you. The next question is, I think you might have heard already that this Central Environmental Authority is working to bringing EPR laws that makes producer responsible for plastic packaging waste. How can industry like y'all support EPR system by handling hard to recycle plastics, which is very, very important task? And also, could digital coordination help link collected waste to co-processing facilities?
Yes, Professor. Now, let's say this EPR, the regulator is in town. It's working on very rapid manner. So, in this EPR concept, there's the component called PRO, the Producer Responsibility Organization, who is the partner of the producer for managing their waste. So we are right now even working with multiple multinational companies as their PRO. So we are supporting them on their voluntary EPR scheme, where we collect the non-recycled portion on behalf of them and sustainably dispose in cement kiln. So in this journey, we are, on this responsibility when the economics matters, so we are always giving them the most economical solution through the optimizing, where we have to go all over the country, maybe southern province, maybe the north province, eastern likewise, where we have to optimize the supply chain. The best route, the volume availability, the composition, and the immediate cases. For example, like the festival season or the Dalda Perhar, that sort of cases where we have to specially support these organizations on our expertise. We supported on the Dalda Maliga, the Kataragama Perhar, that sort of special events even as the PRO for these EPR agencies. Apart from the non-recyclable portion, we are also supporting them on recycling portion even. We have our dedicated resource recovery center where we accept the recyclable portion and supporting them to actually close the loop rather than producing, let's say, downgraded product, maybe a flower pot, or rather than that sort of thing. We are actually innovating where we can introduce the high quality recycled portion back to their product, where we are right now working on certain product ranges like non-food applications where we can introduce this recycled portion and really close the loop. So this would actually bring in the circular economy concept right into practice.
That would be very good. When you come to this particularly solid waste management, the circular economy is not a strange word for us. Now, how could this circular economy explore the plastic waste within construction material industry, as you are basically involved in INSI cement. How could you help achieve the circular economy through digital R&D tools?
Yes, I mean, it's a part of where hard to recycle material rather than energy recovery where we can apply this material recovery. So we are working on two approaches actually. First thing is for applying it as a aggregate, kind of a coarse aggregate on concrete applications to develop lightweight concrete special applications where this can serve as a kind of a bonding agent. But those are not straightforward applications where we need to do a lot of R&D, lot of testing, time taken, and lot of assurance process in order to make it commercially viable. So that's one approach we are applying with concrete applications. And second approach is where we are working on R&D for this fiberglass waste. We are kind of a bonding agent, kind of a fiber agent for this special cement application. So altogether, these are applications where need lot of R&D, where we need lot of literature, lot of trials, references, where we are using this, this perplexity, that sort of applications we are kind of using and get the maximum commercially viability. That's what we need in order to make it commercially viable. That's what we believe as an organization. I mean, we need to make it happen. I mean, on bridging the literature or bring it back to the operation, back to the business. So those are the two applications where we are working, but we need a lot of R&D and make sure it doesn't make any negative impact. Especially the applying plastics for these, the ground or the asphalt applications where we need to make sure no leachate, no strength issues likewise.
Okay. When you do your normal operations, one challenge in co-processing is ensuring a steady supply of sorted plastic waste, because usually it is mixed in Sri Lanka. Given that the source segregation is weak in Sri Lanka, can data analytics or AI help improve the plastic feedstock supply for your kiln? Because the understanding the general public has is that any sort of plastics may not be suitable for you all to put it into your kiln. How do you sort them out using AI or any other similar technology?
Yeah, I mean, let's say plastics, the biggest issue is this nature, unsorted or unsegregated. The general public tend to put all the material, not only the plastic, the paper, the timber, even the electronic portion, metal part, where where we can recover those, where we can use for other recycling applications. But co-processing should be the ultimate solution for the non-recyclable portion, where we do our sorting and segregation operations at our plants right now using the manual operations, where we are kind of analyzing the composition, the parameters right now. But in future, we would need to automate those, like optical recognition, wind shifting machines, where we should be able to get the efficient operation in order to make sure this is on a commercially viable operation. Unless the general public sort it out, we have to sort it using the technology. Manual operations are not going to work or not going to be economical in the long run, where we are planning on using optical recognitions as well as the machineries, where we can reduce the cost of operations and get the maximum benefit of digital.
All right, so thank you very much. And then with that, we will finish first round and I'll come back to you later. Thank you very much for your insights given. Okay, so my next panelist, Engineer Pasan from John Kills. John Kills launched Plastic Cycle in 2017 as a social entrepreneurship initiative to reduce plastic pollution. How successful has this program been so far, and how have you leveraged digital innovation to amplify its impact so that the public would basically embrace what you have done as showcases? What have you got to say?
Yes, Professor. So, at John Case Group, we all know that we have 7 sectors, 70 companies. So, big conglomerate. We get so many data from different companies and different work sites, operations, factories, things like that. So obviously we have one person or one team, like a team cannot handle those data. So we obviously had to look into data and advanced analytics and AI and all that. That's why we already have an internal separate arm, which is Octave for data and advanced analytics. So the one you mentioned about the plastic cycle, actually we, when it comes to sustainability also, we have multiple initiatives now going on. Along with plastic cycle, we have other initiatives focusing water sustainability, maybe like forest kind of like tree planting and those kind of initiatives. Then again, social sustainability initiatives. So along with that, plastic cycle is one of the major initiatives that we focus on plastic pollution and that kind of areas. So under plastic cycle, Professor, so we focus mainly on 3 areas. Initially, the major part is making people aware of the plastic pollution problem. So that for that one, it is very important area because like even we think that people know there's a pollution problem, plastic pollution problem. When you go and speak to some of the like a ground level people or kids, and sometimes we don't see the knowledge there. And also we don't see the knowledge being applied. So that's why the awareness creation is a major portion. We have social media and also a website, and also we do physical and online awareness kind of programs. So through social media, we try to touch almost all the demographics, like from different age groups and different geographical areas. So for that purpose, we calculate our audiences, those kind of things. We use data and advanced analytics on those kind of areas to choose the correct audience. And for that one, we have won several awards also, like our website has selected as Best Web Awards, and also the plastic cycle actually has selected as a case study at World Economic Forum, and we have an article, they have published an article at World Economic Forum website. Other than that, the next part is supporting responsible disposal. That's where like you all have seen the plastic cycle bins at key supermarkets mainly, not just at the key supermarkets like highway exits, universities, schools, and different locations. So that project, it's been there since 2017. That has worked really well, and we've been going through like several challenges also, but so far the collections and recycling is happening good. Other than that, we do, all of us will accept that recycling is not the ultimate solution when it comes to plastics, because you know how tiny, how small portion of plastic is being recycled. So that's why we, at Plastic Cycle, our main focus has now changed to finding alternatives for plastics. So I'll later explain on our, we have done another initiative called Startup Cycle, like it went really well, and we are currently in the process of it. So plastic alternatives is another part of it. Then also innovation is next for main focus area. Some of the cutting edge technologies we are looking at these days, like bringing down, I think you may have seen on social media and different forums that people talk about the plastic degrading microorganisms and things like that. So we are currently exploring that area with an international body. So trying to bring down an enzyme at least, because we cannot bring down microorganisms here to Sri Lanka because of the policy frameworks here. So that's one area we are looking at. And also with whatever the existing pollution that we have already caused to the environment, there are some initiatives that we have taken to clean up those areas. Like we mostly we focus more about like putting the impact rather than doing so many projects. So that's why rather than doing beach cleanups and things like that, we are like partnering up with some of the organizations to like to minimize or stop the waste coming into the ocean. So that kind of initiatives are there, and also that we are doing another initiative called Cleaner Seabed for Sri Lanka with another NGO in Sri Lanka. So that also like very labor intensive and like time consuming project, but still like it's very impactful because we have seen, we've been cleaning these coral reefs all around Sri Lanka. In Trincomalee, that currently we have recognized 2 of the coral reefs are fully plastic free, the ghost nest free. So that kind of good achievements we have seen through those initiatives, and we are doing again the nurdle cleanups kind of initiatives. So with the nurdle spill in MSC Elsa ship, so those kind of like specific projects we focus. Actually, those which can make a big impact rather than doing so many projects. Yeah.
Okay, next question is not a question, it's allegation coming from, audience. I have been asked to pressurize me to ask this question from you. Being one of the larger conglomerate in the retail and consumer food, Kale's supermarkets all over the Sri Lanka still have been using plastics in great deal. Though you have been talking of reduction of plastics using high tech, still when you go to Kale's, people are asking whether we can put our stuff into plastic bags, siri bags. Question is, how is JK using AI or data analytics to reduce plastic waste that are basically going to the mainstreams through your operations?
Yes, so this question, like I've been asked from so many forums, because when you say a conglomerate, okay, John Case, you're making so much of plastics. So, well, if I ask you back a question, so if you want to eat ice cream, so if you can't, like currently the best packaging is using plastic, right? So plastic has been a like very versatile and useful material, but still the problem with it is we use it for everything. We use it not just for the operations that we essential, but we use it for all the things that we find, okay, this is easy, so we use that. If I specifically focus on the question you asked about the key supermarkets, so before answering your question, I'll tell what kind of that initiatives or steps that we have taken at key supermarkets to reduce this. So if you go to the supermarket, you go to the vegetable section, right? So vegetable section, whoever going there might take that silly bag from the roll and put your vegetables in that bag and get that QR code, the barcode in. So this bag, people think this is a polythene bag, but still it is not a polythene bag. This bag is a biodegradable cornstarch based bag. So the impact or the dedication that we have put through Keys is that the bag itself is 6 times costly than the polythene bag. So we still keep on investing in that because we care about the environment through that at least. And we've been pushing the government through Retailers Association, and Keys took lead on that to reinstate the plastic bag charge. This was there, I think everybody knows this, the 2 rupees or 1 rupee was charged at the counter at the supermarkets and other retailers, but we still couldn't practically start this plastic bag charge, and still there are some good progress, but still that is there. So then you'll ask why Keys cannot do this, why do you wait until the government give this? So it's actually Keys is also a business among other businesses. So I think none of the businesses would like the customers lose the customers so that the customers will go to another supermarket. So in that case, we expect the plastic bag charge would be applied overall in Sri Lanka to all the So not even supermarkets, but even for smaller shops as well, because supermarkets is at 20% when it comes to when it comes to the sales. Supermarkets is only about 20%. Then other than that, we give incentives to people who are into sustainability or like bringing sustainable packaging. So we have Keys Green Bag, and also not just limited to Keys Green Bag, we let anyone to bring any reusable bag or a tote bag or a whatever the reusable bag or a packaging, or it can be even a lunch box or something like that, where you can put your chicken or meat in that container and go. So, but for this one, we incentive people with 6 rupees. The number of packaging you bring to the supermarket, you give 6 rupees each to that bag. So that is one initiative we do at key supermarkets. So with that, we have all this data, like through our system who uses this sustainable packaging and all that. Currently, we are in a project to identify them and like maybe incentivize them so that they'll be more motivated in using those sustainable initiatives. And again, we have other initiatives like paper straws and those kind of things are obviously there. And through Startup Cycle, we try to turn some of those packaging to biodegradable or like environmental friendly packaging. If you may have seen the fruit juice cup at the supermarket, this comes plastic and it's hard to recycle kind of material. Currently, we are in a project of making these cups out of arecanut leaf material. This is something we are currently in research, and we have made the samples and all that. We are yet to get the food grade certifications. So those kind of practices are happening, and yeah.
Okay, good. When it comes to you, most of the questions are coming in the form of allegation. Next question is single-use plastics. Again, people are saying, though you preach to reduce use of plastic, you yourself promoting single-use plastics in the form of, let's say, the ice cream cups, yogurt cups. Do you have any solutions for that? Or is it in the pipeline?
Well, yeah, yogurt cups and ice cream cups. I think if you have seen the frozen yogurt cup, it comes in a cardboard packaging right now, and some of the packaging actually the consumers are more used to the like taking away like small bottles and things like that. That is some consumer behavior also there, but we are trying to force consumer behavior into sustainable packaging. If you may have seen, our soft drinks are now coming in aluminum cans. So we have pushed these aluminum cans on all the like top shelves. If you have seen, if you go to a shop somewhere, rather than having the plastic bottles on top, now we have aluminum cans. Like all the soft drinks are available in aluminum cans. That we are trying to make a trend so that people will move into sustainable packaging. So that kind of like push or like a consumer behavior push kind of thing that we are trying to do. And also, as I mentioned, like through Startup Cycle, few other packaging solutions are also coming up. Not even Key supermarkets, even Cinnamon Hotels are under John Key's holding, even this Cinnamon Hotel. So at Cinnamon Hotels, one of the largest plastic items they were using was the plastic cling film, which they use to cover the food and sometimes in the kitchen and when taking it to rooms and all that. The plastic cling film is a big plastic pollutant through the leisure sector. For that one, we are there's a product coming in the pipeline, which is biodegradable and made out of like natural material. That also we are currently testing and waiting for the food grade certifications, because without food grade certification and all those certifications, we cannot test them out. At Cinnamon, Grand and Lakeside, we are testing that material with the chefs. And again, there's another product for takeaway boxes and bento boxes, which is used at the hotel chains. That is made up of banana fiber. So we bring down banana, the banana stems and banana tree. This material is very abundant in Bilpitia, those areas. After the harvest, they throw away the banana stems. So we are trying to turn that material into a useful packaging solution here at the leisure sector at John Keys.
Thank you. My last question. Corporate collaboration and public-private partnerships can accelerate innovation. How is John Keys working with the government or other organizations on tech-driven initiatives to combat plastic pollution?
Well, public-private partnerships is very crucial when it comes to countries like Sri Lanka, because government cannot do everything alone. So, as I mentioned earlier, the plastic bag charge, pushing on that is also like we, as a private company and government through CEA and Ministry of Environment, we are trying to push it. And then again, we have another public-private partnerships for collecting plastic waste with RDA, with EcoSpindles, Coca-Cola, and those kind of organizations to put plastic collection bins at expressway exits and collecting those plastics. And as I mentioned earlier, the project that we are working on, bringing down this enzyme for degrading plastic material, that is also one thing like we'll have to work on a public-private partnership. Other than that, well, we have many other environmental sustainability focused initiatives. I mean, not just plastic, but we are trying to like bring down the energy usage of all the properties across John Keys through Octave, the advanced data and advanced analytics arm of John Keys. We have like identified how to control the chillers, optimize the chillers so that we can bring down like 8% of the energy usage, which is 400 metric tons of carbon reduction through that. So many projects are there, and another one is at Beira. If you have seen Beira cleaning, we are like doing oxygen nanobubbles to clean the Beira. That is also public-private partnership that went. Yeah, those are the few projects that comes to my mind.
Thank you very much. Next, it goes to Heminder. Your first question is, it seems that you have been closely involved with tech startups and innovation in Sri Lankan's waste management space. From what you have seen, what are the most exciting tech innovations local startups have developed to tackle plastic waste? Because I know that you have been in this arena for many years. What is your best startup innovation that you can share with us?
Yeah, thank you. So I think before coming to that question, I had to tell, I mean, I ran my own plastic recycling startup as well, which I failed, and then we stopped it. But then that was a learning cycle. We realized a lot of issues in the entire model, maybe structural issues, maybe all that. So, but if you really look at, I think the other speakers also mentioned, even though they are into various, I mean, representing their companies, the whole plastic problem you can't solve with recycling. That I think everybody agrees here. Globally, I think some numbers gave by the professor as well. The global recycling is about, he gave some figure, but actually if you really look at it, more than one times recycling globally, only 1%. So if you produce 100 plastic whatever things, you will recycle more than once, only 1%. So that itself shows recycling will never solve this problem, right? I mean, first we have to understand that. But then what you can do is using the other two R's, reduce and recycle. That's the only way out. So if anybody says here in the audience or wherever, we can solve this puzzle with recycling, either you are trying to greenwash or you're doing something else, right? So understand that, because for that you don't need AI. You just need your natural intelligence to understand that. So secondarily, I think the topic says AI. Before going to AI, we have to first move into digitalization part. or digitization, right? First digitization, then digitalization, before even talking about AI, because AI comes much later. So one of the biggest issues that we see is in a lot of sectors in Sri Lanka, we are still not even gone past up to the level of digitalization. So without that, you can't talk about AI and all these other much more advanced models. So to answer the question, I think I work with about 135 startups now at Trace. So I meet all these 135 startups within any given time. So out of that, I have seen a couple of startups in the environment sector working on plastic. I think you know some of the startups. There's Chakra Sutra by Himesh, and so various other startups directly focusing on plastic. But then again, my only issue that I have seen, since you asked what is the most exciting, I haven't seen enough working on those first 2 hours. So first 2 hours, we are still looking for a startup that's working on probably how we can reduce using the plastic, maybe coming up with alternatives, for plastic, or working on something where we can reuse. For example, if you really look at it, the reuse also, you can reuse only certain types of plastic only. For example, PET you can't reuse, PET only one-time use. Then recycle also, if you want to recycle, say 100 times, it's only HDPE. Otherwise, you can't do any other plastic type, you can't recycle. I mean, there are a lot of companies saying that we took the PET and made a garment or like a yarn, and then you developed like a garment. But what happens to that garment? After wearing that, it goes back to the same dump yard, right? So it doesn't solve the issue. So to understand this, you don't need AI, you just need the natural intelligence. So what you have to understand is you have to have a whole focus on the material tech where you have to find the right material types to replace the plastic. So I think there are few organizations who are doing it, but as I said, I haven't seen a repeatable model yet. So I'm coming from the startup background. So until you have a repeatable model, it's not an innovation. I mean, you can do R&D, you can do research and development, you can even create patents, you can do so many things, but until the point that you can do a repeatable model where you can sell million times or billion times to solve this issue, you haven't come up with the right startup to solve the issue. So in Sri Lanka, we haven't, to answer to your question, we don't have a exciting solution yet.
Yeah, because many people just contacted us and asking us why we fail. There have been quite a lot of startups going on in Sri Lanka, but successful stories are handful. Now, in that context, what are the biggest challenges that the local entrepreneurs face when creating tech solutions for plastic waste management in Sri Lanka? And how can this be overcome?
So I think, now I'll give you one good example. So one of my startups working on a seaweed-based, again I can't say plastic, so it's plastic alternative, right? So we have done the prototype. Only thing, it doesn't work as good as LDP or HDP in terms of water passing through and various other indicators. But then again, that particular plastic that we developed is good enough to use inside plastic. For example, if you take in a noodles pack, you have this little savory pack. Something like that, you can use it because, but outer layer you can't use it because it doesn't have the same attributes of a typical plastic. So we have tested it a number of times. We are trying to improve this as well, but then we have not got the right attributes to use it as a typical plastic. But if an organization is ready to take it as a plastic, inside plastic, we have a material. But then comes the other issue. Since you asked what are the problems, this is not only Sri Lanka, globally is the issue. People might talk about the sustainability, all these issues, but no one is ready to pay extra amount for that sustainability. I mean, it's just a word only, right? I mean, you might say, I came up with a plastic or natural material to replace plastic. But everyone will ask, is it as cheap as plastic? It can't be even 50% more. Then there's no product. Nobody will buy that out. So that's the biggest issue right now. So a lot of, maybe I would say, a lot of new thinking has to go on through to make sure that you can come up with a material as cheap as the typical plastic. That is the biggest issue. There's a lot of material that people are using, and also repeatable level material as well, but then cost is more than 50% more than expensive than the typical one. That's the biggest issue. So nobody will buy it. I mean, you can have a patent, you can have you can say that I have developed a material, but nobody will buy it. There's no repeatable model available.
All right, okay. So it's not a good news for startup, for the new startups. Anyway, we'll give it a try. Next question. When you look at even our regions like India and then other countries, smart waste collection systems, let's say based on IoT, base bins, route optimizations, are being piloted in many areas of even in our region. Are there any Sri Lankan projects, as far as you are concerned, in this area? If not, how can AI or IoT help make waste collection more efficient in our region, in our cities, and let's say wards?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about AI if you want a couple of hours, right? So I mean, not in the plastic sector, but I have a patent, US patent, and a Japanese patent on AI model for medical product. But then what you have to understand is the practicality. So like a lot of products I have seen about 10 startups doing like a little boat going on the lakeside collecting plastic and taking. But all of those have failed because why? We have not understood what is a startup. Startup is not about creating a prototype. Startup is not creating about a research. Startup is not about creating something wow. Startup is about creating a repeatable model million times, billion times, and it should be, again, people should be able to buy that product at the same rate or maybe even less than that. So that's the whole idea of, so that's where we have failed all this time. So obviously you can use AI models, you can use generative AI models, you can use for even this new model, we call it now world models for in AI, which is much more cheaper in terms of energy usage and the response, I mean, putting the responsibility to the right owners. I mean, in a lot of ways it's good, but then the applicability is the issue now. So for example, if you find a model, right, AI model to sort out plastic or whatever, how do you do that after that? Even if you select plastic, what happens to the rest of the plastic? What is the model? Whether somebody will get that right price for doing all that, because even though it's a machine doing all that, you need to have a price given for whatever the part is. That price model is not there. That is why we talked about, I think one of the panelists even talked about the EPR model. You need to have a right price given to all this plastic collection. Now, if you go to Australia, you have this, the local government pays 25% for any person who is doing plastic collection and whatever private party. If you go to Germany, you have this right model. I mean, for any plastic that you given back to a reverse vending machine, you get the right price. But in Sri Lanka, if you look at for used plastic, what you are getting is about 40 to 50 rupees, or maximum 60 rupees, which doesn't solve the problem. Economically is not viable. That's why you see all this plastic lying around everywhere. So the collection or sorting out you can do once the collection is there. So right now the problem is a collector's problem. So you have to have an answer for the collector's problem.
Yeah, so my last question, again connected to the same. You know, in Sri Lanka, the informal sector, that is waste pickers, small recyclers, handle a large share of the plastic waste in Sri Lanka. How can digital innovation empower these workers rather than displace them, ensuring a just transition as we modernize waste management?
I think one thing, I think a lot of people, we need this education. I think education is the biggest issue. I know INSEE does the plastic burning, but then that's at a very controlled environment. But I know if you go to 100 houses in Sri Lanka, 50 of the houses burning plastic inside their house. Sometimes I know in villages they even use the plastic to set up the fire in your hearth or wherever. So nobody have done that education piece, how bad that is. And then we talk about why so many cancer patients, kids with cancer. I mean, the answer is there. It's burning of plastic, most of the cases. So I think that education piece has to be there first. So I think the same is applied for education on different plastic types. Now, out of hundreds of different plastic types, we have then categorization of plastic type 1, 2 to 7. There should be a methodology for you to identify that. I think that is the biggest issue. Maybe you can use a tool to identify that, and if you can give that tool to all these waste collectors, NADAs, to all these people, I think that will help. Then at least they will know this type of plastic, no point collecting, or rather this will end up anyway in a burnt yard. I mean, just only possibility is of burning it. You can't recycle it. So at least if you can give that understanding, obviously you have that, I think, typical sign that you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and all that, but some of the plastics, you can't even find that. For example, if you look at a little, PET bottle, you have the top part. Usually it's PP, right? It's not PET, right? So people don't know this. So if you have a kind of model to understand, identify this plastic, I think that will sort out a lot of issues, especially on the sorting part.
Thank you. And then let's have another round later. Now the next question, the set of questions comes to Prashani. Your first question. Haley's is a large conglomerate spanning manufacturing, consumer products, agriculture, etc. How are you integrating circular economy principles for plastic across such diverse businesses? And could you give some examples of initiatives in different sectors?
Okay, so thank you first for the invitation. I'm the only person without the word engineer in front of their name, so I'm a bit intimidated. But I will talk in a more corporate and like ESG strategy sense. So for those of you don't know, Haley's is probably one of the largest conglomerates in the country. We have 16 sectors, over 190 companies. So in terms of how our environmental strategy is rolled out, we have a ESG roadmap, and we have publicly committed to targets across climate action, biodiversity, and our material footprint. So waste and circularity is part of our material footprint related target. So for all our sectors, we have cascaded down targets on reducing single-use plastics. So we are not a major consumer of plastics other than in our packaging. So a lot of our efforts have gone into reducing reliance on single-use plastics on our packaging. So this again, and I think I completely agree with what Pasan was saying, it's all profit-oriented businesses. So sometimes it's difficult to push these initiatives, but at Haley's, I think an advantage we have is that we are largely an export-oriented business, and now we really see customers, particularly from Europe, who are pushing down these requirements. So due to these factors, we have been able to drive certain circularity initiatives. So I'll give a couple of examples. I was going to talk about the recycled yarn, but I'm not going to talk about it now. So on the hand protection side, which is our glove business, we've really looked at redesigning packaging. So it's not things that you can do overnight, right? So redesigning the packaging to completely or almost fully, as much as possible, eliminate the use of plastics in it. Another product we have, so we have a sector called Haley's Aventura, which provides industrial raw materials to sectors. So they have this new product called Eco1, which is a plastic additive. So when you it's a US-based product, when you put the additive into the plastic, it accelerates its degradability, right? So it really accelerates the time span with which it can biodegrade. So these are some of the initiatives on our plastic side. But in addition to that, on our textiles arm, we are looking at waste to fashion, where we are using furniture waste to create organic dyes. We also have certain initiatives running on e-waste due to Singer. So I believe Singer has a responsibility because we are the largest electronics or consumer durable retailer in Sri Lanka. So we have e-waste collection centers across all our networks, so nearly 400 branches. If you have a used TV or a used washing machine, you can hand it over to Singer. So these are some of the initiatives we have going on.
Thank you. Seems fairly good. Okay, next question is, I don't know whether you like it or not, but I would like to, ask you, with this EPR system in place, or maybe let's say close at hand, which will hold companies accountable for the post-consumer plastics? How is Haley's preparing for this from an ESG standpoint? Because you being the head of the ESG, I do believe you will answer. And also, will you leverage any digital systems to manage and report compliance?
Okay, I feel like this is a quiz, like directing questions like a quiz. But yeah, so as a sustainability professional, I welcome the EPR. I think it's a really good move for the country, and I think it's something that has been due for a while, right? Because that the responsibility, corporates don't seem to want to take accountability for the waste that they generate. In terms of practically how it can be done, I am a bit hesitant or I'm a bit uncertain as to how it can be done. So I think from a Haley's point of view, again, Singer is probably the one which will have the biggest impact because we are, like I said, the largest importer and retailer of consumer durables. So here the advantage that Singer has is that we work with a lot of global brands who themselves are looking at, recycled material. So at the point of the production itself, this gets looked at, right? So we have a range of products which are now actually like even the Apple products or the Samsung products, they do use a lot of recycled material and they're trying to reduce reliance on virgin material. So that is from a corporate point of view. But personally, I think it may actually take time to really implement in Sri Lanka, but definitely it's a step in the right direction.
Are you pressurized from the government or maybe from your superiors that you should go for EPR or not go for EPR right at the moment?
Not from the government. There have been some conversations surrounding this, and I have also been part of those conversations. But unfortunately, there seems to be a lack of action on that part. I think there is more pressure from the global customer base because the regulations in EU are now really heating up. So the pressure from principals and customers is probably a bigger push.
All right, okay, thank you. The next question is, Haley's is heavily involved in manufacturing like textiles, rubber goods, etc. Are you utilizing any AI or advanced technology in your manufacturing processes to minimize plastic waste or improve sustainable material usage?
Okay, so I'll be honest here. I think Haley's has kind of just commenced its digital transformation journey because of the size of the group and some of the industries we are in are very traditional industries. So digitalization has been a challenge, right? But now, from a group point of view, it is a priority. We recently recruited a head of digital transformation who's now driving it. So digital kind of is a cross-cutting enabler across all our other strategic priorities. So both from a sustainability point of view, both from a social and environmental sustainability, we are using digital. Like Heminder said, I think not yet still at AI level, but we are trying to digitalize the process. So I resonate with what you said, Buddhika, on the optimizing the footprint. So that's some of the things that we are trying to do. We have a pilot project running called the Golden Batch, which across our manufacturing sectors, we are trying to produce units at the optimum usage of raw material, energy, fuel, all that, right? So that is how we are using digitalization on the environmental front. We are also, I mean, as a group, we have a lot of interlinkages with rural supply chains. So we are trying to use digital in making that relationship smoother in terms of how the payments happen to our rubber farmers or our coconut farmers. We work with about 25,000 farmers across different agricultural commodities. So to make sure that one, we are improving traceability of the product, and two, also that payment is smoother and that value creation happens to them quite fast. So I mean, we have a long way to go on digital, but I think we've taken the initial steps. Yeah.
All right, thank you. You know, in Sri Lanka, these SMEs in Sri Lanka basically rely on cheap plastics for packaging and products. How can a big player like Haley's help create a more circular economy among your suppliers and downstream partners? Can you use your influence or digital platforms to encourage SMEs to reduce plastic waste?
Yeah, so I think that is probably a point where a company like Haley's can have a significant impact, because we can propagate the best practices across the value chain. So this instance of this packaging in DPL, which I was telling you about, so our packaging material comes from a lot of small-time suppliers, and we have worked with all these suppliers in really building them, because when we started out, they were also completely reliant on plastic and not really even willing to invest in other materials because the market was not there for that, right? But now with the global push coming on DPL, we are working with our suppliers. There are development plans that happen, there are audits that happen in really converting them into more environmentally friendly material. So I mean, again, this is not something that will happen overnight. And like you said, the customers, they will request this, but they're not willing to pay, right? So of course, that impact on profitability margin is there, and it's very difficult for sustainability people to go and defend this in boardrooms, because at the end, you will look at the profitability. But yes, definitely, I think engaging that smaller supply chain and the informal sector is critical to driving this change.
Okay, my last question to all of you. It seems that it's quite difficult for you all to trace where the leakages takes place when it comes to your organizations, right? And people believe that the blockchain will help you sort this matter out. Is it true? Is it still a myth?
Yeah.
Anybody can answer.
Yeah, I would say yes, blockchain is a good concept where we can improve the traceability and everything. But once it is, we are practicing the blockchain, the data availability depends on when the reverse channel starts from the generator for the final treatment. Can be recycling, can be reusing, can be destruction. But in order to trace the leakage or kind of, let's say, flow analysis, this the traceability all starts after the consumer and in between the consumer as well as the recovery channel. That's the leakage. So for a blockchain kind of thing, it will be good for the generator can input the data as well as the end processor can end the data, but it would ultimately give the leakage. However, I would say the blockchain technology as well as EPR would give the same purpose, where the generators are reporting as well as the final treatment processing companies can report. So this leakage can be traced together with the EPR as well as the blockchain. Thank you.
Hemant, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think, so the blockchain does work, but then again, how do you get the blockchain into the system is the issue. Now, even the biggest companies globally have not really identified it. I think Sri Lanka before going to all these digital systems, I think what we need is very simply the education on plastic. I think it has to go to every public in Sri Lanka, every person in Sri Lanka. We have to talk about we might be talking about sustainability here, and today we will go to Keels and buy all this plastic packaging and all that without any guilty feeling, right? So that's what usually happens. From the producer side of it, I don't want to blame any of these companies, but then talk about all this, but still you produce the same plastic type because that's the cheapest material that you can find. So I think there should be a model. Of course, digital system will help all that, but I think there should be larger focus. I think there's a lot of universities here. You need larger focus on finding the right alternative materials. I think that is not there. The biggest issue we see is people might do a research, 1 year research, 6 months research, and say, okay, I did something, but then they don't look at that repeatable model, right? That's why it fails. I mean, maybe you don't look at the pricing, right? Even if you make million times, whether the price goes below the usual, the plastic material or whatever the material used. So I think you need to do that extra effort, very focused effort at university level to various levels. I think it's not happening in Sri Lanka. That's why I said there's so much of research happening. I know University of Moratuwa, there's doing research on various materials. Slintech did, I was heading a couple of years back, we did all that. But even Slintech, we developed a model to replace some of the plastic types like PS, polystyrene. But then again, the cost of the material, we never could bring less than 50% level. So, the 50% in the sense the usual polystyrene price versus this material was like 50% more. So that's where the issue. So this is where. So I think we need more research, more focus, more approach. Maybe private sector can fund. The big corporates can fund the universities. I think funding is a big issue for Sri Lanka, and most of the research fail because we don't have the funding. But if we can do that, I think we can get that very exciting product. I'm very hopeful about it, but right now, no exciting product whatsoever in Sri Lanka. But I think we have to be hopeful about it. We have to focus on, we need the private sector support to fund the research, and really focused approach at all universities, research organizations to tackle this problem. Not for recycling, I said once, the other two arts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hemant. So, lady and 3 gentlemen, you passed the first round of questioning. Let's go back to the audience and let's see whether they have questions or clarifications to be made with all 4. I think you can be able to, pass the mics. Please put your hands up if you have any questions. Yes. Nalin?
I have a question for the moderator.
My goodness, okay.
This is not related to AI, but can you quickly, I'm going to put you in the hot seat here. Can you
Yes.
give us some idea of what, is it on? Okay. Some idea of why in all these years we have not had any proper, recycling tax or any measure actually put in place by the government instead of talk. Is it resistance from the industry, or is it, what is the reason when so many other countries are doing these things?
In fact, this has been taken, by the Central Environmental Authority and also part of the, the actions by the ministry as well. This has been, taken up. I was part of that as well earlier. But when you go to the implementation step, we have had so many red tapes where we could not, because of this government procurement system. That is one thing.
Let me take a simple example. The aluminum cans.
Okay.
Right. They have tremendous embedded energy and presumably value.
Yes.
Right. In almost every other country, they get recycled. We have not even had any success in getting that done.
Yeah, we'll do it little later because I would like you all to ask questions from panelists, not from me.
That's a good way to.
I have questions from Mr. Buddhika Batigama. I think you stated that you are co-processing this plastic waste in your kiln, and you are closely monitoring the values of the NOx and SOx and dioxin and furan to the regulatory level. My question is that if you recover them, right, what do you ultimately do for these pollutants? Because under scientific principles, if you don't destruct, you cannot completely eliminate pollutants from the environment. You can transfer from one place to other place where the severity is less. Then it is less harmful. My question is, if you exceed the threshold limit, then you have to have a certain mitigation techniques to recover them, no? What do you ultimately do for the pollutant?
I would say, on this co-processing technology, the ultimate, let's say, effluents would be the gaseous phase. I mean, all the solids will be embedded into the end product. So this effluent part, or the, let's say, before going to the pollutant, I would say the effluent part, it will be the gaseous phase. So as I said, this is SOx, NOx, whatever, the basic emissions. Let's say or other option, I mean, rather than emitting to the environment, it will be the recover and do it for some other usage. That would be kind of, let's say, the circularity. There is another fact where it would be the ideal situation. We all love it. Recover and use for something else. For example, huge amount of CO2 emitted on this the calcination process. We would love to collect CO2 and use to somewhere else. Yes, there are technologies like even the Europe where they do collect the CO2 and apply for algae generation, that sort of technologies. But ultimately economics comes in. I mean, economics of circularity economy is not friendly, as even Heminder said. The money talks. If we are going to recover the gaseous phase like the chlorides or NOxes or SOxes, if you are going to apply something, the cost comes. So that is why most of the industries cement industry, we had to limit the emission within the limit. Or if we have this sort of a industry where we can apply this sulfur to maybe sulfuric production, that sort of thing, then it will be economical. But unfortunately, the industries are not there. The same thing, I mean, let's say if we go for the chemical recycling of apparels or the plastics, for example, like even for the fabrics, we need a comprehensive industry network in order to fulfill those requirements. Unfortunately, we have very scattered industries. If we take the chemical recycling rather than mechanical recycling, then yes, we can approach a lot of plastics. The same thing, unfortunately, we are having very limited industries in the country. Maybe the cement, maybe rubber industry, where almost all the raw materials are either imported or using local. If we have good technologies for the maybe producing the chemicals using those materials, then it would be the best case we can apply.
Thank you. Okay, over there. Yes.
You have time to...
Go ahead,
Okay,
that's all right.
Thank you very much. I will ask two small questions. One is from the expert from the Kiel, so John Kiel, so from the plastic cycle. My question is, there are many organizations, institutes, even donor-funded entities, they are collecting plastics. Many places, many bins you can see on the roadsides, on surroundings, even we also supporting on that. But my question is, by using this AI and the digital innovation, do we have a common platform that can show a figure in Sri Lanka, this much of amount of plastic collected per day? For an example, by you, by A, B, C, D, like that, how that is generated and coming. Because if you take this one, this is an emerging sector and also competitive environment. There are competitors also, they are formal and informal sector. So do you think, is there any common platform that you can create or you can suggest from by using the AI or the digital innovation to have a common platform? Because this will be useful for all the researchers and the future policymakers, that they can pick this figure and decide what to do next. That is one question, small question to you. And from the expert from the startup sector, I'm very much happy to listen your case from the practical or by heart. Your summary is like stating like recycling is a challenge. Yes, we know, we understand that. But when you take the triple R, reuse and other things will take time, because to change the mind of the people, behavior change communications will take time. But at the moment, in our environment, there are a certain amount of plastics there. To eradicate that one, not eradicate, actually to reduce that one, or to solve that issue, recycling is the only mechanism all are suggesting, practitioners and also the researchers. Maybe some other things are there. But this is a challenging part, right? So do you have any other suggestions that you can suggest for the new startups or new or any other researchers, that this is the area we can study further and come out with now new innovations, something like that? Those are the two questions I have. Thank you very much.
Right. So for the first question you asked, the short answer is yes. There is a system, the EPR system. It's an online system. It is there. I don't know whether it's open to public, but the system is there. The EPR, whoever registered in the EPR is supposed to upload their collection data. Currently, John Keels and Coca-Cola is voluntarily submitting our data, and some other organizations are supposed to submit the data, because EPR is a voluntary thing currently happening. So that system is there. I hope that will come to public as well. That system is supposed to be hosted by CEA, but there are a few challenges they are facing also related to staff and all that. So that system is already there. So, and also another thing is, so recycling is not the primary solution that already everybody knows. And even though we cannot, we cannot neglect recycling. There's a big impact through recycling as well. So when it comes to systems like that, before applying AI or like maybe other digital solutions, we need to digitalize the data, digitalize the industry before that. So the collectors, or there may be grassroots level collectors who, Botal Patra from that level to like larger scale MRFs to recyclers. So these data should be digitalized. They have them in their, whatever the bills, so sometimes they might have them in their Excels, but they are not public, they are not open to anyone. So for AI to function, there should be a quality set of data. So that data digitalization, there's a lack of, I see in the industries in Sri Lanka. So if that infrastructure is supported, I guess there must be a support from AI to maybe optimize or things like that, that maybe Hemindra can help on that question. So that's my short answer for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I think we are now running out of time. So I have only one last question. Yeah, go ahead. Very short, right?
Yeah. So I think, again, I want you to stand correct on the thing that you said. If you say recycling is the only answer right now, is wrong. Recycling will never solve this issue. Because as I said, it's 1%, right? So even you do it 100 years, still it's 99% left. So I think the whole world should focus on the other 2 R's. There's no other way. If you still say it's recycling solve the issue, forget about it. Change your mindset. Is a mindset change that is required. And focus on new material, new models, reusing. Think about everyone use the same silly bag twice. You can reduce 50%, right? Whereas recycling only reduce 1%. So reusing and reducing has a bigger effect. So I think you should focus on that. I think startups, researchers, everyone should focus on those two, 100%.
Thank you. I think you have last question from you. Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to ask a quick question. So we all are talking about this material circularity, plastic. I don't know whether at present all these giant industries, they are addressing the energy perspective of this making material circularity. So for an example, making the yarns and all sort of things, how much energy you need in order to retain this material circularity? Any idea about that? Thank you.
So anybody can answer.
I don't know whether this answer would fulfill this thing. I mean, for the entire circulation, the energy, or let me say, apart from energy, the cost of recovery is the main factor hindering this recycling process. For example, like as you said, the PET putting back into the fabric, it is economical because of second operation. But let's say the other material, for example, this the non-recyclable polythene portion, apart from the energy, but the total economics doesn't make a sense to recover or reuse it. That's the thing even Hemind is telling, where it doesn't make a sense. I mean, economics of circular economy doesn't work. The cost of circulation is high because the plastic is a byproduct of petroleum industry. We have to know that. I mean, as long as petroleum industry there will be plastic generation. It won't resolve the solution with this circulation. You know, the virgin plastic price compared to the recycled plastic price, difference is very less. So whoever going to reuse it, it doesn't make a sense. That is because of not only the energy, but also the other operations, the logistics, the processing, the people cost, all together, it doesn't make a sense. That's what even Hemind is telling. Economy of circular economy doesn't make a sense at the moment.
All right, thank you very much.
That's a great answer, yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I have 1 minute to basically sum up. Okay, I'll try my best. First, we discuss about the circularity, and everybody agreed unanimously that the circularity doesn't come at no cost. It is costly business, which means that it takes a bit of a time for the Sri Lanka to embrace the circular economy. And then we were talking of startups, and Hemind mentioned very clearly that the startups would fail unless you look into the repeatability aspects. And then we were talking of AI and digital transformation. It seems that we are too early to embrace fully AI and digital transformation for the waste sector. So hopefully in the years to come, we will be able to embrace AI and digital transformation to come out with a better Sri Lanka in terms of reduction of plastic waste. And then we were talking of 3R. And then what is meant here is the most stunning point would be recycling would help you reduce only 1%, not 99%, so that we should focus on other two, reuse and reduce. So for those two, we have had very little startups. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to think again, go back to our drawing boards, think as to how and what we can do in terms of reduction of plastics to give a better environment, better Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, gentlemen and lady, for sharing your insight with us, and we look forward to meeting you again in a forum like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and kudos to our moderator and the members of the audience, as well as our panelists. Kudos to the members of the audience and the moderator for all those insightful questions, and for the stout defense by our panelists. Congratulations on that as well. And now we would like to show you our appreciation with a little token of appreciation. And for this, I would like to invite our joint conference chairs, Professor Jagat Manatunga and Professor Banduni Atapattu, to hand over the tokens of appreciation to our moderator and panelists. A heartfelt thank you once again to our moderator, Professor Mahesh Jayavira, and the panelists, Mrs. Prashani Ilangasekara, Engineer Heminda Jayavira, Engineer Buddhika Batigama, and Engineer Pasan Senadira.